Hey, in today's video, we're going to be comparing two different microphones to see which one better fits you in terms of budget, quality, and sound. Now, this is far from an expert opinion since I've only owned two microphones of this caliber in my life, starting with this one. So this one I've used many times before, and this is the Blue Yeti, and I just recently upgraded to this guy. And this is the Shure MV7, which is sort of the new kid on the block. Like I mentioned before, I'm far from an audio expert. I'm no audiophile. So this will be a pure side-by-side comparison from a novice just like myself. And if you're just someone starting out, you're most likely going to be recommended possibly this mic, which is the Blue Yeti, which is, tried and true. Or if your budget's a little bit higher, I'm sure you've come across this mic, which is the Shure MV7. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison. I'm going to read through 10 different sentences to get a pure test of these two side-by-side. And I'll let you know which mic is which after the test. And honestly, I won't even know what this sounds like until I edit this after. My guess going into this is that both of these mics will sound a little bit different. I'm so used to this mic, so I think I might like this mic better to start out with. But I'm excited to see what this mic sounds like. So I'm gonna read through 10 different sentences with the first mic, and then 10 of the same sentence with the second mic, and let's see how that goes. The small pup gnawed a hole in the sock. The small pup gnawed a hole in the sock. The fish twisted and turned on the bent hook. The fish twisted and turned on the bent hook. Press the pants and sew a button on the vest. Press the pants and sew a button on the vest. The swan dive was far short of perfect. The swan dive was far short of perfect. The beauty of the view stunned the young boy. The beauty of the view stunned the young boy. Two blue fish swam in the tank. Two blue fish swam in the tank. Her purse was full of useless trash. Her purse was full of useless trash. The colt reared and threw the tall rider. The colt reared and threw the tall rider. It snowed, rained, and hailed in the same morning. It snowed, rained, and hailed in the same morning. Read verse out loud for pleasure. Read the verse out loud for pleasure. So if you're watching, can you guess which test was for which mic? The first test was actually for the Blue Yeti, and the second test was for the Shure MV7. Did you guess right? And how do you think it sounds? And both of these, again, are unprocessed audio being captured by OBS. So for the rest of this video, I'm actually going to switch to my new mic, which I wanted to play with, which is why I'm making this video. Mostly to talk about the budget and why I chose this mic. In terms of price point, the Blue Yeti can be found for probably retail about $130, but I got that mic over 5 years ago for $100 new. So I'm sure you can find it for about that price point, and it's often on sale. Now let's talk about the Shure MV7. This mic is pretty brand new. I think it came out a month or two ago, and this clocks in at $250. And whenever I buy a new piece of tech, I think about the value proposition of this new piece of technology compared to what I'm replacing. And since I have the Blue Yeti as an anchor point of what I find the value of a microphone to be, I predict that this one's gonna be hard to beat. So what do I mean by that? So the Blue Yeti is something I bought over 5 years ago when I wanted to test out streaming on Twitch. And since then, I've actually used the mic quite a lot more than that. And when you think about my daily use of that, it's gotten well more than $100 of value over those years. And with the Shure MV7 coming in at 2.5 times more expensive than the Blue Yeti, is it worth the value? Now, only time will tell. Now, if I use this mic pretty often over the years, I'm more than certain this will be worth the purchase price over time. But like in most of my videos, there's a lesson to be had here. Now, what I want you to think about with your next big purchase is to think about the cost of that item spread over time or spread over the amount of uses you'll have. And what that'll often do is help me decide whether or not that item is worth the purchase. So for instance, with this mic being $250, if I'm going to use this for the next 5, 6, 7 years, similar time frame of my old microphone, then this certainly is worth the purchase price over time. But let's say this was a new toy that I would play with once a month, then probably not worth the purchase price over time. And the second thing I want you to think about when buying something that costs quite a bit is to think about the quality of the item compared to cheaper versions of the item. So for instance, in the same example, let's say you're looking for a new microphone. Now, if you're just starting out, I wouldn't recommend spending more than maybe $50 or $100 on a microphone to make sure this is for you. But if you're in the market for something that is of high quality that you want to last with time, consider something that you can reasonably afford that's within your budget, but also don't skip out on cheap things. Now, if you're buying something that you think you'll be using for a long time over the years, definitely consider buying something that is of higher quality and probably a higher price point. And definitely don't cheap out on knockoff products or low quality products that you haven't done your research on, because if they break over time, it's more expensive to replace the crappy things than it is to maintain the high quality products. And that reminds me of an anecdote about work boots. Now, let's say you're someone who needs a pair of good boots, but decides to buy, $10 boots versus the $40 or $50 pair of work boots. More than likely, those cheap pair of boots will wear out much sooner, and you'll be replacing them much more often than you would have if you initially bought a nice pair of boots in the first place. So that does it for this video. I'm sure you guys will all be seeing this mic a bit more often in my videos. If you enjoyed this content, please give this video a like. And if you want to see more weekly videos on how to get wiser with your money, definitely consider subscribing. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.